From AS to A2, we have made a massive jump from the characters, the costumes, the props, and the softwares.
Starting from the characters, we used a range of different ages, from like the baby at the start, like when we dropped him at the doorstep, then we saw the toddler. We also chose then the child when he was like about 10, 11 years old. After that, we also used people our age who played like the vampires and the other vampires' kids, as well as using a lot of adults as the family.
Getting these characters was not all that easy. It was difficult that all of us faced, and it took a lot of time and effort. However, we finally decided to expand on our characters for the production. Our original test footage showed characters who were all of a similar age. No adults were included, no children were included, which defeated the objective of family and character peril and family opposition. So due to these reasons, we decided to change the plot of our film, which Harmeet will explain now.
Yes, basically we were going to use witches at the start along with werewolves in like a community. We were going to use locations such as Blakely Hall, but we were not given permission to record in there. I don't know why though. This really changed our plans a bit, so we had to use we tried to get graveyards as well, but like they had gates on there, so we couldn't use that either. In the end, we went to a local park with like some flats next to them, so it looked like it set the scene as like a good place to have a fight, somewhere quiet that no one would see us, with a nice street lamp over the top of us to show like a bit of lighting as well.
The flats from the explanation on what is shown within the trailer. However, it's just the lighting that we thought would be good and useful, as instead of being completely pitch black so nobody can see any of the characters, the faces are still visible and the expressions are visible, showing going into depth about the fight.
Yeah. An example of this is like in the film Blade, when Wesley Snipes is like fighting vampires, but if it was all in pitch black you wouldn't see anything, as like when he's walking on the road you can see the street lights in there and everything.
We got our inspiration from Twilight and Vampire Diaries. As we looked at the clips, we seen what they done in this, and we got like little hints of what to do in our production.
Even though Twilight and the Vampire Diaries is where we originally got our inspiration from, the two productions differ completely to our trailer and our plot summary, as we don't include all of the supernatural creatures, and we base it on family rather than romances and affairs.
One thing we lacked in our first draft was using dark shots, like with low lighting or artificial lighting maybe, but we completely forgot to take shots at night, so then that's when we had to change it around and completely make a new production.
Our A2 production shows how our understanding and skills have developed from our AS, as we now have more of a background on lighting, technical elements such as sound, positioning, camera movements, angles, and so forth. So we were able to use this to our advantage in order to produce a better standard of work.
As she said, with the technical elements like sound and that, we used a lot of non-diegetic and diegetic sound in there, like the screams used, they weren't in the actual shot itself, we had to get them online. And also the soundtrack that we put on there, we tried to make it like to go with the film, like slow at the start, then when the fighting scene kicked in it like rolls a bit. That was like our idea in the start as well, so that went well.
We enjoyed recording it as we met new people. We had to go out, buy our own costumes, and basically we had to go out late nights to sacrifice our time. We had to go out, record, meet new people. Yeah, that's it.
Also, when we done audience feedback, we realised that a lot of people, as we knew what the film was going to be about, we thought that the storyline was clear. However, as you can see in our video of audience feedback, like not a lot of people understood like the storyline. They just thought like a baby might have been like just abducted or something like that. There wasn't vampires, so then we created it with vampire teeth. We made like some of the cast say, "Oh, this film, oh my God, my parents are vampires," like so people get the actual idea of the film.
Yeah, the development of the film from start to finish was quite a long process. However, I think in the end we were all pleased with it, considering how far we'd come from the original test footage, which is available on the blog. But as you can see from that, there weren't many characters, there was no specific lighting, there was no specific sound, There were specific costumes, however, they weren't up to a good standard, as you couldn't tell who the characters were. We got this from various criticisms from peer A2 students, as well as our A2 media teacher, as well as other teachers within school and other adults.
After our film production was finished, we planned on making a film poster along with a film magazine. I created the film poster, and we tried to make it like not revealing too much, but we used like a slogan on there. I also put like the character names on there, but I didn't want to give away too much. Like for example, in the Expendable films, that was going to be our main idea, to do the poster line with like the whole cast on there with all the names. So but then when you look at that, you can tell it's going to be instantly superstar movie with all the characters on there. There's going to be a lot of action in it. So this one we tried to like, I don't know how to explain it. We tried to like hide it from the viewers, like what was going to happen. We just used vampire teeth along with the film name Truth, which came from like who can you trust? Like can you actually can you believe the truth? Like that the baby was actually not a vampire, so on. But I'm going to create the magazine along with Rakib.
Yeah. I think the magazine and the film poster task was very difficult, as we had to do a lot of research into what goes into a film poster and what makes it effective, and what makes a magazine cover, how it attracts an audience in, and what makes the audience read that magazine. I think we did quite a good job of it, as we managed to be effective, and using Photoshop rather than beginner software such as Paint, etc. We managed to layer all the images on so it looks realistic and creates an effect which we couldn't have done without having an understanding of Photoshop.
So the hardest bit of the magazine was the colouring, as we didn't know what colour the family went for like the gender, female, because we want to say that for families. So the gender for females was pink. For guys, it was like blue, black. So for families, we actually put it right in the middle.
Another thing what I think was the best about our film is the jump from technology we used. We were supposed to use a range of different, like, we were going to use the superimposing along with the green screen, but like we wasn't able to do it because our first production was very poor. But like, we used Final Cut Express, as Amna said, instead of using Paint and like Publisher. Like they were kind of like not high enough for our standards at A2, so we used Photoshop, which was hard to use, but when we got used to it, we created some decent posters and magazines for our film.
Our audience feedback proved to be quite critical of aspects such as storyline and it not coming across. However, this was quite rare, as the titles included and the dialogue within the trailer meant that a lot of the audiences were able to understand what was going on within the plot and who the characters were.
Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.
On a whole, I think our production went very well. We could have done it better, if we must admit, by using green screens and other elements. But apart from that, we hope you enjoyed our film.
We did overcome many difficulties within the film, such as lighting issues and costume issues, as we weren't quite sure on how to create the perfect look for a vampire. Like, are they going to be classical, are they going to be modern, however have a vampire element? As well as this, we had difficulties in organisation and commitment. However, we managed to get this sorted quite early on, so we were focused on getting our task done to a high standard.
Thank you for watching our...
We hope you enjoy our production.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Someone dropped their phone.
You repeated it like 3 times. The audience feedback.